Have you ever stood beneath a star-filled sky, feeling simultaneously enormous in your consciousness yet infinitesimal against the cosmic backdrop? This paradox of human existence, this tension between significance and smallness, has captivated minds for millennia. In 1969, as astronaut Neil Armstrong took humanity's first steps on the lunar surface, he gazed back at our blue planet hanging like a marble in the void and experienced what scientists now call the overview effect, a profound cognitive shift in awareness when viewing Earth from space. But thousands of years before this modern phenomenon had a name, an ancient Hebrew poet stood beneath the same stars we see today and articulated this very sensation with remarkable precision. What does it mean to be human in an incomprehensibly vast universe? The answer may surprise you, and it lies within one of history's most profound pieces of poetry, Psalm 8. Around 3,000 years ago, in the hills of ancient Israel, a shepherd-turned-king named David composed words that would echo through centuries. Psalm 8 is believed to have been written during David's reign between 1010 to 970 BCE, during the United Monarchy period of ancient Israel. Archaeological findings from this era reveal a society in cultural and political ascendancy, yet still deeply connected to the natural world that surrounded them. David begins this psalm with words of awe, "O Lord, our Lord, how majestic is your name in all the earth. You have set your glory above the heavens." The Hebrew word for majestic here is adir, which carries connotations of might, splendor, and magnificence beyond mere beauty. When David wrote these words, ancient peoples across Mesopotamia, Egypt, and Canaan regularly worshipped celestial bodies as deities themselves. The revolutionary perspective in this psalm is that the God of Israel transcends these cosmic elements. The heavens are not divine but rather display the fingerprints of their Creator. Imagine living in a time without light pollution, without tall buildings, without the distractions of screens and modern life. The night sky that David observed would have been overwhelmingly brilliant, a canvas of countless stars stretching from horizon to horizon. Modern astronomers estimate that in such conditions, the naked eye can observe around 4,500 to 6,000 stars. The actual number of stars in our galaxy alone? Approximately 100 billion. And our universe contains an estimated 2 trillion galaxies. David continues, "From the lips of children and infants you have established strength because of your foes, to silence the enemy and the avenger." This verse presents a fascinating juxtaposition. The Hebrew term for established strength is yesad ta'az, suggesting a foundational power. In ancient Near Eastern culture, strength was associated with military might, political influence, and physical prowess. Yet David locates divine power in something entirely unexpected, the babbling of babies and the wonder of children. Historical context reveals deeper significance here. In David's era, children occupied the lowest social position. They were economically unproductive, vulnerable, and entirely dependent. By elevating children's expressions as vehicles of divine truth, this psalm subverts the power structures of its day. The modern developmental psychologist Alison Gopnik at UC Berkeley has demonstrated through extensive research that children possess forms of cognitive openness that adults often lose, an ability to perceive patterns and possibilities that conventional thinking might miss. David's insight about children's perspective predates this scientific understanding by 3 millennia. The psalm then shifts to cosmic contemplation. "When I consider your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars, which you have set in place, what is mankind that you are mindful of them, human beings that you care for them?" This profound question forms the existential core of the psalm. The Hebrew phrasing is particularly poignant. "What is mankind?" translates ma'anash, literally asking, "What is frail, mortal man?" The term emphasizes human vulnerability and transience. In a cosmos of such magnitude, the brevity and fragility of human life seems to warrant cosmic indifference, not attention. Consider this: our Sun is just one of 100 billion stars in the Milky Way galaxy. If we represented our galaxy as the size of North America, our entire solar system would be smaller than a coffee cup. Yet within this incomprehensible vastness, David marvels not at human insignificance but at divine attention. The historical period when this psalm was likely composed, the early first millennium BCE, was an era of profound intellectual development across multiple civilizations. This period corresponds roughly to what philosopher Karl Jaspers termed the Axial Age, approximately 800 to 200 BCE, when transformative philosophical and religious ideas emerged independently across Greece, China, India, and the Middle East. During this pivotal period, humans across different cultures began wrestling more deeply with questions of meaning, purpose, and their place in the cosmos. The psalm continues with a surprising turn: "Yet you have made them a little lower than the heavenly beings and crowned them with glory and honor. You have given them dominion over the works of your hands, you have put all things under their feet." The Hebrew term translated as heavenly beings is Elohim, which typically refers to God but can also indicate divine or celestial beings. Some translations render this as angels, while others preserve God, suggesting humans are positioned just below divinity in creation's hierarchy. This positioning is neither cosmic accident nor evolutionary coincidence but intentional placement. The concept of dominion has been critically examined in recent environmental discussions. The Hebrew word mashal, dominion, is better understood not as exploitation but as responsible stewardship. Ancient Hebrew agricultural practices reflected this understanding, incorporating principles like the sabbatical year, allowing land to rest every seventh year, and sustainable harvesting regulations that prevented resource depletion. Archaeological evidence from Israelite settlements during David's era shows sophisticated water management systems and agricultural practices designed for sustainable long-term use. These practical applications align with the Psalm's vision of human dominion as responsible care rather than exploitation. The psalmist elaborates on this dominion: all flocks and herds, and the animals of the wild, the birds in the sky, and the fish in the sea, all that swim the paths of the seas. The comprehensiveness of this list reflects the ancient Near Eastern taxonomic classification of animals into domestic animals, flocks and herds, wild terrestrial animals, aerial creatures, and aquatic life. This cataloging parallels similar classifications found in Egyptian and Mesopotamian texts from comparable periods. What's striking about this passage is how it positions humans in relation to other living beings. Unlike some ancient cosmologies that saw humans as simply part of nature's cycles, or others that viewed the natural world as hostile and requiring conquest, this psalm presents a balanced view where humans have special responsibility without disconnection from the natural order. The psalm then concludes by returning to its opening declaration: "O Lord, our Lord, how majestic is your name in all the earth." This cyclical structure, beginning and ending with the same exclamation, creates what literary scholars call an inclusio, a poetic device that frames everything between these statements as elaboration of divine majesty. The effect is profound. Both cosmic vastness and human dignity become expressions of the same transcendent glory. When we examine Psalm 8 in its historical context, several fascinating insights emerge. Its composition occurred during a period when ancient Israel was transitioning from tribal confederation to centralized monarchy. This social restructuring brought tensions between urban and rural perspectives, between established traditions and new political realities. David himself embodied these tensions: a shepherd who became king, a warrior who composed poetry, a figure who moved between wilderness solitude and palace responsibilities. This biographical background infuses the psalm with lived experience rather than mere abstract theology. Musically, this psalm carries the inscription, according to the Gittith, likely referring to either a musical instrument or melody from the Philistine city of Gath. This cross-cultural musical reference suggests the psalm was performed rather than simply recited, perhaps during temple worship or seasonal festivals. Archaeologists have uncovered various musical instruments from this period in ancient Israel, including lyres, framed drums, cymbals, and reed pipes, giving us some insight into how this psalm might have sounded when performed. Throughout history, Psalm 8 has influenced art, literature, scientific thinking, and philosophical discourse. During the scientific revolution of the 16th and 17th centuries, pioneers like Johannes Kepler, 1571 to 1630, saw their astronomical investigations as thinking God's thoughts after him, directly echoing the Psalm's integration of cosmic wonder and divine order. The Psalm's influence extends into modern times. When Apollo 8 orbited the Moon on Christmas Eve 1968, astronaut Jim Lovell read from Genesis about creation while looking back at Earth, a modern echo of David's cosmic reflection. The images captured during that mission, particularly Earthrise, showing our planet rising above the lunar horizon, catalyzed the environmental movement by visualizing Earth's beauty and fragility, themes deeply resonant with Psalm 8. Contemporary neuroscience offers another fascinating lens through which to view this ancient text. Research on awe, that sensation of wonder mixed with slight fear in response to vastness or complexity, shows it reduces self-referential thinking and increases pro-social behavior. The experience David describes looking at the night sky, cosmic wonder leading to reflection on human purpose, precisely tracks with what neuroscientists now understand about how awe recalibrates our perception of self in relation to the whole. What makes Psalm 8 particularly relevant for our technological age is its nuanced anthropology. It neither diminishes humans to cosmic insignificance nor elevates them to exploitative dominance. Instead, it positions humanity in a middle space of responsibility, a little lower than heavenly beings, yet entrusted with creation's care. In an era facing ecological crisis, artificial intelligence development, and biotechnological capabilities that can alter the very fabric of life, this balanced perspective offers wisdom. The psalm suggests neither that humans should retreat from their creative and cultivating role, nor that they should exercise power without awareness of their place within larger systems. Consider how this applies to our relationship with technology. The same species that can build particle accelerators to study the fundamental structure of matter can also develop weapons capable of planetary destruction. Our scientific achievement reflects the glory and honor described in the psalm, while our potential for destruction reminds us of our limitations and responsibilities. The Hebrew word for crown, used in verse 5, adar, carries royal connotations, suggesting humanity's position involves both privilege and responsibility. In ancient Near Eastern cultures, kings were understood not as absolute owners but as stewards answerable to divine authority. This same framework applies to humanity's relationship with the natural world according to the psalm. The environmental implications are significant. While some have criticized the Judeo-Christian tradition for supposedly promoting environmental exploitation through concepts like dominion, a careful reading of Psalm 8 in its historical and literary context reveals the opposite intention. The dominion described exists within a framework where humans remain answerable to their Creator for how they exercise their authority. The growing field of environmental humanities has increasingly recognized how essential narrative and meaning frameworks are for effective ecological action. Technical solutions alone cannot address environmental challenges without corresponding shifts in how humans understand their relationship to the natural world. Psalm 8 offers precisely such a framework, one where human activity is simultaneously affirmed and bounded by respect for a larger order. Modern ecological research confirming the interconnectedness of natural systems would not have surprised David. Living as a shepherd before becoming king, he would have intimately understood dependence on seasonal cycles, weather patterns, and the delicate balance of predator and prey populations. This lived experience infuses the psalm with practical wisdom rather than mere abstract idealism. The existential question at the psalm's center, "What is mankind that you are mindful of them?" resonates differently across cultures and eras. In societies oriented around community and tradition, this question addresses collective human identity. In more individualistic contexts, it becomes personalized. Who am I that I matter in this vast universe? Comparative literature reveals similar questions across cultural traditions. The Epic of Gilgamesh from ancient Mesopotamia confronts human mortality against cosmic time. Greek tragedies explore human significance amidst seemingly capricious fate. Buddhist texts examine human consciousness within boundless space and time. While each tradition offers distinct answers, the question itself appears universal. What distinguishes Psalm 8's response is its affirmation of both human dignity and limitation through relationship rather than intrinsic qualities. Humans matter not primarily because of what they achieve or produce, but because they are seen. This relational foundation for human worth offers a profound alternative to both achievement-based and consumption-based identities. The modern philosopher Charles Taylor has argued that contemporary society suffers from a malaise of immanence, a sense that material reality is all that exists, leaving humans without transcendent meaning. Psalm 8 directly addresses this condition by positioning human experience within a larger story that includes both immense cosmic processes and intimate personal attention. The neuroscientist Andrew Newberg's research on neurotheology, studying brain activity during religious experiences, suggests humans are biologically structured to seek connection with something beyond themselves. The experiences of awe, wonder, and transcendence described in Psalm 8 correlate with specific patterns of neural activity that reduce activity in brain regions associated with self-focused attention while increasing activity in areas linked to empathy and perspective-taking. The Psalm's perspective also offers insight for artificial intelligence development. As we create increasingly sophisticated AI systems, questions about the nature of consciousness, moral responsibility, and appropriate limitations become urgent. Psalm 8's balanced anthropology suggests technology should augment human capacity for relationship and stewardship rather than replace human judgment or disconnect us from the natural world. When the psalm describes humans as crowned with glory and honor, it uses imagery reserved for royalty in the ancient world. Yet unlike royal ideologies that concentrated power in a single ruler, this psalm democratizes dignity, extending royal status to all humanity. This radical social vision influenced later Western political development, contributing to concepts of universal human rights and dignity regardless of social position. Historical analysis reveals that the psalm was likely used liturgically, perhaps during festivals celebrating creation or commemorating divine covenant with humanity. By reciting these words communally, ancient Israelites were regularly reminded of both their dignity and responsibility. This liturgical function created ongoing ethical formation rather than merely communicating abstract concepts. Modern psychological research on narrative identity confirms the power of such repeated storytelling. The stories we tell about ourselves and our place in the world shape our behavior often more powerfully than explicit rules or principles. By providing a narrative framework where human action matters within a larger cosmos, Psalm 8 offers what psychologists call an orienting system, a meaning structure that guides ethical decision-making. The psalm's relevance extends beyond traditionally religious contexts. The Czech playwright and President Václav Havel, though not conventionally religious, frequently referenced living in truth and recognizing something beyond, themes that echo Psalm 8's integration of human dignity with cosmic humility. Astronauts from diverse backgrounds have reported transformative, overview effects when seeing Earth from space that parallel the Psalm's perspective. As we stand today, with unprecedented technological capability yet facing complex global challenges, Psalm 8's ancient wisdom offers fresh relevance. It invites us to cultivate wonder rather than exploitation, responsibility rather than dominance, and relational identity rather than isolated individualism. The question, "What is mankind?" continues to echo across centuries. In an age of rapidly advancing technology, environmental uncertainty, and social fragmentation, this ancient text offers not a simplistic answer but a profound reframing. We matter not because we are everything, nor do we vanish because we are nothing. Rather, we occupy a meaningful middle position, capable of reflecting on the stars while standing on the earth. Like David gazing upward 3 millennia ago, we still find ourselves caught between vastness and intimacy, between cosmic scales that dwarf us and consciousness that somehow comprehends them. The enduring power of Psalm 8 lies in its ability to hold these tensions without resolving them prematurely, allowing wonder to inform wisdom and humility to shape human action. And so the ancient words continue to speak, "O Lord, our Lord, how majestic is your name in all the earth." Final thought. In a universe vast enough to make us question our significance, perhaps our capacity for that very question is itself the answer. Before you go, I want to personally invite you to be part of our growing community here at Prayer Universe. If this video touched your heart or brought you peace, take a moment to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a prayer or message that can uplift your spirit. But most importantly, I'd love to hear from you. In the comments below, share just one word or phrase of motivation that this video inspired in you, whether it's hope, gratitude, peace, or something else. Your words matter deeply to us because they help guide the content we create for this channel. Together, let's build a space filled with faith, encouragement, and connection. Thank you for being here, and remember, every prayer counts. See you in the next one.